Hey guys, Iona here. Today I'm bringing you a DPS guide for the Retribution Paladin in patch 6.2.3. We'll be looking at the talents, the DPS rotation, or rather the priority system, the DPS opener for single target fights, the DPS opener for multiple target fights, and a few tips and tricks. Click on the desired links to go to the part of the guide that you want to see. The priority system for the Retribution Paladin is quite complex and can be divided into a Final Verdict priority system and a Seraphim priority system. This is a list of spells you want to use in order of priority. For most of these spells, there are several conditions which need to be taken into account. Your number one priority is consuming your holy power by using Final Verdict when you are capped at 5 holy power. When you are not capped, you will always want to use Hammer of Wrath when it is off cooldown. When you have the Empowered Divine Storm buff, Final Verdict buff, and Avenging Wrath up, or your target is below 35%, use Divine Storm. If you have none of these buffs, but do have Avenging Wrath up, or the target is below 35%, use Final Verdict. When your holy power is not capped and Hammer of Wrath is on cooldown, use Crusader Strike. If Crusader Strike is on cooldown, use Judgment. If all of these holy power builders are on cooldown, use Divine Storm if you have a Divine Storm and a Final Verdict proc. If all your holy power builders are on cooldown and you don't have Avenging Wrath up, you can use Final Verdict at 4 holy power. If you have less than 3 holy power and all your other holy power builders are on cooldown, use Exorcism. And finally, if all your spells are on cooldown, but you have 3 holy power, you can feel free to use Final Verdict. For Seraphim, the following priority system applies. Always prioritize using Seraphim at 5 holy power. If you are using Divine Purpose as your talent, which you should not with the tier 18 set bonuses, be sure to consume the proc if it has less than 3 seconds in duration. If you have an Empowered Divine Storm proc and Seraphim is about to come off cooldown and you don't want to overcap your holy power, use Divine Storm. If you have 5 holy power and your Seraphim is not about to come off cooldown, use Templar's Verdict. The same applies if you have less than 5 holy power and all your holy power builders are on cooldown. Use Crusader Strike to generate 1 holy power. If Avenging Wrath is up or your target is below 35%, use an Divine Storm proc. If you cannot use the Divine Storm proc or Crusader Strike, use Judgment. If all your holy power builders are on cooldown, use Templar's Verdict. If you have less than 3 holy power and all your builders are on cooldown, consume the Empowered Divine Storm proc. Only use Exorcism when all your other holy power builders are on cooldown and you have less than 3 holy power. If Seraphim is not about to come off cooldown and all your holy power builders are on cooldown, you can use Templar's Verdict on 3 holy power. This priority system looks a lot more complicated than it is. As a basic rule of thumb, always try and prioritize Hammer of Wrath over Crusader Strike, over Divine Storm procs, over Judgment, over Exorcism. Always build 5 holy power before using Templar's Verdict or Final Verdict, and if you're using Seraphim, make sure to not use Templar's Verdict when Seraphim is about to come off cooldown. Your single target talent setup is pretty straightforward. The only 3 talents of significance are the level 75, level 90 and level 100 talents. If you have the tier 18 2-piece or 4-piece set bonus, you will basically always want to go Sanctified Wrath for your level 75 talent. Use Execution Sentence on your priority target and use Seraphim if for the majority of the fight you will be fighting one boss. The only case in which you do not use Sanctified Wrath is on Shadow Lord Iskar, when you delay the ring for the ad phases. For more information about this talent choice, see my Hellfire Citadel DPS guide. For your multiple target rotation, change Execution Sentence for Light's Hammer and switch Seraphim for Final Verdict. Now let's look at the DPS opener at the start of the fight. If you are a Blood Elf, use Arcane Torrent 3 seconds before the pull. At 2 seconds in, use Speed of Light to get into melee range of your target as soon as possible. At 1 second before the pull, we pre-pot. As soon as we have pulled, we use Avenging Wrath, Execution Sentence and the Legendary Ring. From here on out, you will want to use the priority DPS system while keeping an eye on your buffs. Always try and fit as many finishers and Hammer of Wraths within your wing uptime, your 4-piece uptime, the Legendary Ring uptime, and your potion uptime. As you can see, I used my Hammer of Wrath exactly at 10 stacks of the 4-piece set bonus. Unfortunately, I was not able to fit a Templar's Verdict in before the ring expired, or before Seraphim expired. Luckily, we did get a finisher off before the potion expired. Keep in mind that in a raid setting, you will have a lot more haste, and during a lot of fights, you will have Bloodlust up during your opener. As we fit in another Templar's Verdict before Avenging Wrath expires, we can already see that Seraphim is about to come off cooldown. We delay the second charge of Avenging Wrath and only use it when we use Seraphim. We make sure we are at 5 holy power the Seraphim is about to come off cooldown. As soon as it does, we use Seraphim and Avenging Wrath at the same time, and we start our priority system as we did before. Again, we keep an eye on the 4-piece bonus stacking up, and we also make sure that the uptime of our Archimon trinket doesn't expire. We move forward into the fight to when the legendary ring has less than 30 seconds before it comes off cooldown. We can see that Seraphim comes off cooldown before the legendary ring and Avenging Wrath come off cooldown. This means that we delay the use of Seraphim until both are ready to be used. As a general rule of thumb, never use Seraphim if the legendary ring and or your wings have less than 30 seconds before they come off cooldown. For our multiple target rotation, the opener is basically the same, with the difference that we don't have to worry about the amount of holy power we spend within our Seraphim window. But we still keep an eye out for the 4-piece bonus, the Avenging Wrath buff, the legendary ring buff, and our potion to maximize our damage. When we are fighting 2 targets, we switch between Final Verdict and Divine Storm as our finishers. If you have the empty Drinking Horn trinket, as soon as you are fighting 2 or more enemies, switch the Seal of Righteousness. If you do not have this trinket, the threshold for when you switch the Seal of Righteousness is 3 enemies. At 3 or more enemies, you no longer have to weave between Final Verdict and Divine Storm. Just use your 5 holy power on Divine Storms, but make sure the first Divine Storm you use is always empowered by Final Verdict, especially when you are dealing with waves of adds. When you are fighting 4 or more targets, replace Crusader Strike with Hammer of the Righteous. As you can see, I have my priority target as my focus target. The reason for this is that I am using a macro that lets me use my Crusader Strike on my focus target and no other target, in order to keep the stacks of my Archimon trinket up. When I switch to another target, I can continue my rotation as usual, and I turn around to my focus target for Crusader Strikes. This playstyle might take some getting used to, but it is absolutely necessary if you want to get the full benefit out of the trinket. If the ad that you are attacking is too far away, you can use mouse over macros for Judgment, Hammer of Wrath and Exorcism on the ad while using your melee attacks on your priority target. Simply mouse over the ad and continue your rotation. This was my DPS guide for Retribution Paladins in Warlords of Draenor patch 6.2.3. If you have any questions concerning this video, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. I will be back with another DPS guide as soon as Legion comes out, so that you guys are fully prepared to do maximum DPS in the new expansion. For now, take care, and until next time.